Hello, welcome back to the PoddiMouths podcast. I am Peyton Cubic, and this is where my dad and his friend John talk about random stuff in life or the things they found on the internet. I hope you enjoy listening to this episode as much as I did. Here they are now.
Just do it. Just do it. It's a great place to start. So John and I had already started, but we decided to hit record. And that was because...
Which is great. We love being surprised by recording.
Ooh, don't say that.
Oh, hi, everybody.
Yeah. Typical business owners right there.
Yes, exactly.
We were talking because this past week, it's Saturday here, guys. We're recording on a Saturday. Sorry, I'm looking behind me and my light is white, and I don't usually have a white light behind me. But anyway,
wow.
What color should I go? Let's say, hey, Google, turn the office blue. Let's see what blue looks like. She's struggling. There we go. I like blue. That's I like that. Okay.
Well,
we're going to go with blue today.
Because you're used to it. Actually, it looks like a brothel.
Well, that would be red, wouldn't it?
Would it?
I don't know.
Don't
you
play
tell
dumb
me.
with me.
You tell me. I don't know. I don't have the life experience you do.
Let me just check out my phone and I'll see.
Oh, okay.
Pictures of you when we were at, Vegas or wherever we were.
That was all red.
Yeah, sure was.
Anyway, sorry. Let's going back to our earlier conversation. It is Saturday. This has been a good week, but a long week. And part of that, the part that made the week not so great was the fact that I had to travel to Florida for some work things. And I know John lives there, and I know there are a lot of people, a lot of great people that live there. And this is where we were going in the earlier conversation. Yeah, because I said, I am not a fan of Florida. Yeah. And John was going down, well, you got to surround yourself with the right people and blah, blah. That's where he was kind of going, in the politics side. And I'm like, that's not why I don't like Florida. I for all of that, I think there's some fantastic people down there.
What don't you like about Florida?
The heat and humidity.
Well, that's normal. And that's the same reason I don't care for Minnesota in January.
What, the heat and humidity?
Yeah, because of the heat and humidity. I guess it would be the opposite reason. Sorry, my bad. It is so stinking hot here.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I'm wearing a snowsuit. That's why it's hot.
Exactly. It's the peppermint schnapps or the peach schnapps that causes you to sweat a little bit.
Yes, it does.
No, I can't. I walked out and it's not even. And so I was with someone who lives down there and she said it was unusually hot and humid for the day I was there. But walking out of my hotel and just instantly sweating, I just don't like it. That's
not. Okay.
That's summer in Florida. I'll give you that.
And I will also say that where you were, Orlando, it's a totally different climate than where I am in the Southwest.
Right.
Florida, because we get some of that ocean breeze on whatever level.
I think that's called a hurricane.
That's a severe ocean breeze. Yeah. That does change the climate. I will grant you that. But we just get the Gulf breezes that really makes a big difference on the weather. That said, there is, I've done that where because I'm a cheapskate, we took a vacation in Key West one year when we lived in Wisconsin. And Key West, I think it was August.
Oh, geez.
And I will tell you something. If you want to talk about, showering, I freshly showered and walked out the door of the hotel.
I need a shower.
Instant sweat. And I need, exactly. I'm just going to stay in the shower because that's...
Probably right. And it's not a hot shower either. It's
chilly. But and so I know what you're talking about, but that was like 98 degrees, 100% humidity. And I mean, this time of the year, it shouldn't be. It wasn't 90 in Orlando, was it?
No, I walked outside. It was at 7 a.m. It was 80 degrees.
And 80, humid. I can believe. And I know humid, but okay. I think you just sweat too easily. I
do. I'm not going to even argue that. I know you're being funny, but I do sweat.
I am funny.
Trying to be. I do sweat more than I think I would like to. It's just always been a thing, and that's probably why I don't like to sweat.
But it keeps you cool.
Well, it's supposed to. It doesn't.
Yes.
I don't feel cool when I'm sweating. I feel gross. That's one of the reasons, honestly, it's one of the reasons I don't like to work out. I don't like to sweat. I really don't. It just makes me feel,
I
it's
don't
probably
enjoy
why
it
I take
either.
3 showers a day in the summer.
Well, and I'm with you. I get that. And every time I walk in the gym, and they're always so nice to greet me. Hey, how's it going? It'll be better in about an hour when I'm finished. Because it's true. I mean, then it's okay, I'm done, but I can't wait, as you intimated, to get to the shower.
Yeah. Well, and I don't even like getting in the shower after I've sweated because you're still hot and you're still going to sweat when you get out.
When you get out, you're going to still be sweating. That's exactly right.
I just don't.
Well, I will get out and sit under a fan at high speed for for 10 minutes until I cool off. But you're not wrong.
Yeah. So I prefer the drier climates, and yes, it makes my skin itch, but I can put on lotion. It's fine.
Yes, but you're right about that. I was just going to say about the dryness thing. The last time, I guess it was last year, when we went up to Wisconsin, when I guess it was probably the fall, and instantly got off the plane, and my lips are like, so quick, I need chapstick stat, and of course, chapstick.
Yeah, it's like Kleenex.
But that quickly, you need to. Yeah, it's like Kleenex. That quickly, it just completely drains.
Yeah, you got to drink a lot of water.
The humidity,
and to our sponsor, that's what I got here. My big thing of water with Element in it.
Element.
Yeah, I never liked. So
LMNT.
Yep, and I never liked Element the last time I tried it because I got one of those sample packs. I'm like, I just don't. But when you dilute it in a 48-ounce bottle like this, it's perfect.
Yeah.
But
that's
a
big bottle right there.
Jen went to a mastermind class for it's called Aspire. Look it up, guys. It's got some famous names behind it. But she went to one of those leadership courses, and they gave a pack of Element. Element was one of the sponsors, so cool. A big pack with like 7 or 8 different flavors in there. And John's going to get something. But anyway, so she got one of those packs, so we've been trying it again. And while there are some that I still don't like, they do have some other flavors, call it, or whatever. It is flavor for them, for that matter. But
sorry
I
about
actually
that.
kind of like some. No worries. So I've got this one is orange, and I actually kind of like it. And
I've had them before. They're not cheap. That's the only.
They're not cheap,
but you extend the value by using having the bigger
48 ounces,
too.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and they even give you directions. They say, you want it salty, less salty, and you go like that. So it's anyway. It's pretty good. But you drink a lot of this. Like when I was in Vegas, I drank a lot of water and a lot of, and to going back to that. So we're trying Element. I'm probably never going to actually buy it. Because what I tend to do with my water is I get the squeezy flavor things from Aldi. So you get whatever flavor you want. And then I just put Himalayan pink salt in my water and then put the flavor in there. It's literally what Element is.
Well, and I don't know what else they include in Element, but I do know that they spend quite a bit with influencers.
Yes, they do. But it's I think it's mostly salt. I think
I'm
that's
sure that's the number one ingredient. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Let's see.
Are you checking it?
Yeah, I am checking it.
Or are you just checking your email? Because
that too. Because I'm so interested in our conversation today.
No, I am enthralled.
Yeah. So they do add a couple of other things. So it's 1,000 milligrams of sodium, which is for those who salt, right? 200 milligrams of potassium. And 60 milligrams of magnesium.
Okay.
And it looks to be the same on pretty much all of the flavors. I just did orange today, and orange is exactly the same.
Cool.
They do have ingredients: salt. Okay. Citric acid, magnesium malate, potassium chloride, natural flavor, which is always a red flag.
It is a red flag. You're exactly right.
Stevia leaf extract, which is the last ingredient.
Oh, well, that's sweetener. That's fine. And
so exactly what I put, with the exception of the potassium and the magnesium, exactly what goes in if you put salt in your water and then add a little bit of that 0-calorie flavor crap that's not good for you. But hey, it's natural flavors.
But you're not. It's true. But you're putting a little in the and. You can even go without and just put some monk fruit sweetener or stevia.
You could do
whatever.
that, if you really wanted to. Absolutely.
Yeah, which whatever.
So before I do the squeezy or did the squeezy things, I actually would just put lemon juice in.
Yeah,
but
that's a good idea.
The only reason I stopped doing that so much is because I ran out of lemons.
Well, and they're not making anymore. You know that.
No. Well, they make plenty of them, but I have to go to the store and get them, and then I got to cut them, and then I got to squeeze them. It's just so much work. All I have to do now is go into the cabinet and grab a thing and go, and that's it. And that's a technical term there, folks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you have that all planned out. Yeah, that is good. And you do try to, try to watch that stuff because honestly, the red dye number 5 and some of that other crap. And I think we're all starting to see the food shows on TV that are talking about how foods in the U.S. are just not policed well at all.
No, they're not.
It's a money grab.
I mean, and it's difficult for I know for you to say something like that, but me too, because of our leanings, let's just say it that way. But, you want the freedom for people to do things. You don't want to overregulate. But at some point, you kind of got to go, well,
but the primary purpose of the government is to protect us.
Right.
And not just militarily, but from anybody look, red dye number 5 can kill you, give you cancer, can get, so let's pull it out.
Yeah.
Are there other alternatives? Yes, because that's what they do in Europe. That's what they do in many other countries because they don't want to kill their people.
Exactly. And look at the health of those people.
Yeah. Well, yes. Anybody that has, and I've heard that how many times you and I have talked about it, that people go to Italy and then, wait, pizza and bread and wine and I'm losing weight.
Yeah.
Because you're not eating the crap that they throw at you here.
You're not eating the crap. And you're also, to be fair, you're also walking a lot more because they don't have a driving culture like we do. But
typically.
But there's still a big but.
Yeah.
Here there's a big but.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's if you don't walk.
Full circle right there.
Yeah. Well played. But it's true. It's just that, if all of Italy was, it's essentially what the state of Illinois probably is in size.
Right.
So, there is going to be more walking and less driving. Here, if you're, I'm going to take a swing to Montana, you're probably not going to walk typically. Right. So, yeah, it lends itself to that. But largely, it's the food that you ingest and here and seriously, some of the stories from even the 60s and 70s, how, let's just say breakfast cereal, without mentioning any names.
I had breakfast cereal this morning.
Worst things you can put in your body.
Yes,
One of the worst.
Yep.
Well, I was raised on it. That's because we didn't know. Well, they have it out, so it's obviously okay.
Right. No, I would love I have a specific favorite, and I had it this morning just because we have it.
Yeah.
I back up a little bit. We've had this discussion multiple times. Some of the bad food we have in the house is because Peyton
Fruity
doesn't
Pebbles.
eat. No, it's not that bad. Because we're trying to get Peyton to eat. So whatever calories we can put in there, even if it's bad for her, as long as she'll eat it. Right now, we're just trying to get calories.
Sure.
But of course, the same cereal that I love from my childhood is the same one she loves.
Sure.
So it's in the house. We bought it at Costco. It's going to be in the house for a while. Someone's got to eat it. So
it's big. Yeah.
Yeah. And I woke up this morning, and this is, I know might be TMI, not really, it's not bad TMI, but it's a lot of information, a lot of context. It's about to rain here in Nashville today.
Mm-hmm.
So with pressure and stuff like that, and this is something that has happened a ton here in Nashville, I woke up with a headache because the pressure's changing. So, and it's, one of the hefty ones. It's a cluster headache. So I had to take Excedrin this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I hate about Excedrin, it gets rid of the headaches if I take enough of it, and I take a lot more than recommended to get rid of it. But I have to eat something before I take it. Otherwise, I feel sick all day. So I had cereal this morning because most of the listeners who are listening who know me know that I don't eat breakfast normally. I do the intermittent fasting, so my breakfast is usually around noon.
Yeah,
but I had it at 7 this morning, so I could take some Excedrin.
Yep.
Ding.
And that's what you need to do sometimes.
Yeah.
Ding. Gotcha.
But the only thing that was calling to me, the only thing that's light enough where I can eat it and not feel nasty is this particular cereal. So I had a little bit of that.
Awesome.
But even knowing that it's bad for me, but I still love it.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I know some people who drink alcohol.
Yeah. I don't know
anybody.
I don't drink alcohol.
I was talking about other people. Clearly.
Other people,
not us.
Right. Not us. Not us. No.
Never.
No. There's a meme. I shared it with Jen this morning. I probably couldn't look it up. It's a video meme of a guy who said, "Oh, it's chili season, so we can start drinking or eating soup." And then it shows a picture of him with a whiskey glass in front of him, taking spoonfuls of his whiskey, going.
Love it. That's funny.
I thought it was really good. I did send something to our buddy Eric, who is a whiskey aficionado, an expert, if you will. And it was, one thing that's never had E. coli, whiskey. Drink more whiskey. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
There have been some pretty strong memes lately.
They're really the meme game is strong.
Oh my gosh, it is strong these days, and that's okay. In California, I think they'll put you in prison. So
maybe not. Did you see? I'm sorry to do anything political because I'm the furthest away from it. But one of the things that I found so interesting is they show the county map of California from 2020 and 2024.
The elections,
I mean, it was just, to me, most of the country looked like that, and it was kind of mind blowing. But California, that was just, I mean, I was just blown away by the change.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, folks, go look at it. It's pretty. It tells a story. Let's just put it that way. It tells a story.
It does tell a story, and landmass does not indicate voters clearly. But, you have the cities, and that's where on those maps typically where the blue is.
That's any map.
Yes, for sure, and that's where you just have the most people, and so that's fine. It's about population. There's no doubt, but there still is a representation of landmass that you have to say, wow. When you look at it that way, that's certainly pretty interesting.
Yeah, if you look at Tennessee, it's funny. You've got all of Tennessee, and this was a change too. Actually, not a huge change, not as stark as the other one, but you've got Tennessee, and it shows a map of every single county in Tennessee. And this election, Nashville was blue. Memphis and one county outside of Memphis was blue. Everything else was red.
Wow.
Normally, you get Nashville, only Memphis, not that other county, but only Memphis, Knoxville, and Chattanooga.
I was going to ask about
and everything else is red. Knoxville. But Chattanooga and Knoxville, both red.
Interesting.
It was, very interesting.
Yeah, well, and there were clearly some issues that resonated with a lot of the population. And again, we're not really doing an armchair quarterback here about the election, but there were some things that were important, and you can judge that just by saying not only the Electoral College, but the popular vote went to the Republicans, and that's pretty impressive, frankly.
It is.
So,
and even my home
gives
state,
you more of a mandate. Yep.
Even my home state, I was surprised because at one point it was red. It was, and I was like, okay, that just in my lifetime hasn't really happened.
Yeah.
Maybe it had somewhere where I don't, remember it as a child, but in my adult life, that's never really happened. And I was watching, and even though it did go blue, it was very close.
Yeah, it was. As was on the flip side of that, as was Wisconsin, my home state. They've been purple for a long time, but it's, it's always the cities. It's always Milwaukee, Madison, Green Bay. And that's really it. Everybody else and every other county outside of those three is going to be, it's going to be red.
Yeah.
So it was close for a while, and it still remained close. Senate is one of those things that it's just interesting to me. and you saw this in Arizona as well, that even though people voted for president, they voted a different way for a senator.
I saw that in a couple of states. There was one that surprised me. The state went blue.
Yeah.
But they voted in a Republican governor.
Interesting.
Yeah. I thought that one was really, I don't remember which state that was. So
anyway. To the degree that they break off, from a single line vote, we normally, I think in Florida, certainly in the primaries, we have to go either all red or all blue.
Yeah.
And so
Florida took a minute. It took a few minutes for them to actually call it because it was close. Tennessee, before they even counted the vote, I mean, it was like 3% reported, and they called it.
Yeah, they did that to Arizona last time. I don't think that was going to happen, at least on most of the news channels. I guess the thing that I wasn't surprised necessarily, but the thing that got my attention was the voting in D.C. for president. It's for anyone who knows Washington, D.C., that not surprisingly, it is and always has been, as far as I know, blue.
Yep.
And but to the degree to which it's blue,
it's like
blew
a dark blue.
Me away. Yeah, it's really dark blue. It's like navy blue. 97%.
Yeah.
And well, really? But it's also the richest city in the entire nation.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of delighted. And I know you don't want to get too deeply into this, but I'm delighted that Trump is talking about term limits. Whether he can,
it doesn't matter what side.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what side.
What side.
I think term limits are important
because it takes lobbyists out of the equation largely.
It's just that it was never designed. The Constitution was never designed to be a career.
Exactly.
It was supposed to be representatives of the people, by the people, for the people.
Yep.
And if you're a career politician, you're not. You're just not. But that's just my opinion. So we're going to change subjects just because I'm sitting here holding this. How freaky Google can be. Our friend Google. I say in my day-to-day job to every dealer that I work with, it's Google's world. We just get to live in it, and it's so true. So I am part of this Google Opinion Rewards, where they pay you to answer survey questions. Well, I got one like 10 seconds ago. Well, not 10 seconds ago, probably a minute and a half ago now. And it said, "Have you recently searched for any of the following on Google?" And Skull Candy headphones, window curtains, Ninja coffee bar, West Elm sofa, none of the above, or Element electrolytes.
Yes.
Element electrolytes.
Yes.
How long ago we've only been recording now for 22 minutes and 59 seconds. How long ago did I do a search? Isn't that freaky?
Well, yes, but it doesn't surprise me. Two things. Number one, that happens all the time. You just verbalize something to somebody, and then suddenly it appears. Well, yeah, I've got a smart home like you do. Yeah. And Googs is always listening. And okay. But the other part is that to be good at marketing, you got to be borderline creepy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's what it is.
I recommend also a product, and which by the way is not getting too deep into what I do. We don't recommend products. We are product agnostic for what we do.
That's true.
We just want to help people work better. And there are only 2 products out there that really do this and do it well. So I tend to recommend both of the products, but I lean towards the one that's free for most people, because why pay for something that does this? But speaking of a creepy factor from a marketing perspective, Clarity by Microsoft is a free product. Probably won't be by after this podcast.
After you say this,
by the way, you got to ding me because I did say Microsoft. But Clarity by Microsoft,
sorry, ding.
Is a tool that sits on the back end of your website that ties into your Google Analytics as well, where you can actually do session recording. It does heat maps and other things too, but the fun part is session recording. So you can sit there and watch what your customers have been doing on the website. So you're going to watch their mouse go around the screen and click on certain things and go through it's very creepy. I showed that because I have that on Jen's website too, and showed her the first time I started using it. And she was like, this is just no. I'm like, but this is how we're going to know what the customers want to see on the website.
That's
and where
correct.
things are broken. And, this is the best way, along with all of, tagging your website, tagging your CTAs and things like that. But excuse me. It was, if you guys get a chance and if you run websites, try Clarity by Microsoft. Hotjar is the other one that does the same thing, but that one is a paid service, I believe, unless they've done a free version. I haven't looked in a while.
It's, it's just an extension of something we used to measure years ago, and that was time on site. Yes. And while that's fine, it does not dive deeply enough into what the activity is while the visitor is on your site.
Right.
And that's where, like it or hate it, the more you know about what, and honestly, as a consumer, I go to websites, and you do too, I know this, I'm constantly judging that site.
Right.
If it does not work intuitively or does not offer what I think it should, I'm out.
Yeah.
And because they need to be intuitive with what they provide and need to think in terms of what I'm looking for as a customer.
Yep. That's exactly it. And that's, we no longer can we tell, and I'm going to be very careful how I say this because there is a part of my spiel again that I tell people, but we can no longer tell the customer how to shop.
Yeah. We
have to shop, or we have to sell the way the customer wants to shop on our websites. So you have to understand what they're looking for, how they interact, what they're doing on other websites. Because let's face it, you know who the biggest teacher of shopping online is? Amazon. Exactly. So if we're not following suit, we are going to be left behind.
Yeah, that's true. They have shaped the shopping experience so but they didn't do that on their own. They had lots of feedback and lots of focus groups and they know how you want to shop and they know what you're looking for. The other part about our whatever the business is, any other website, is that you need to have multiple ways to interact because you have people who want to do things differently. Some want to get all the information right there on the site, including prices and deliver, how long does it take to deliver, things like that. Transparency for sure, but it's a lot more than just saying it. It's delivering on it. Right. And I know you know all this stuff.
It's the give. You can't take until you give.
For sure.
So you give enough.
But there are some who want to visit you or some who want to have more personal interactions. And you have to offer all of those things rather than just say, we only offer this. And if you think about Amazon, that's exactly what they do. Their new AI, can't think of the dude's name, whatever it is, but their new AI functionality. I was looking for a gift for a particular occasion, much better than their old gift suggestions. And it really was. It wasn't perfect, but it was good. And it's getting closer for sure. Yeah. And as it does, it'll become better at suggestions. So I thought that's a great example of something that not everybody's looking for, but you got to provide it.
Absolutely. And now let's be fair. What I was mentioning at the very beginning is we still need to control what the customer gets. So you don't want to just put everything out there and it's the Wild West.
Too much.
It's too much.
Yeah.
So understand what the customer is seeking. Know your product well enough to build a experience that you still can control to a point. You're still going to give them options, but it's very controlled options. It could be chat with us. It could be start the process now. It could be
call us. If they want to talk to us on the phone.
Exactly. Set an appointment. Something, but you're only limiting it to those few options.
It's akin to what I used to teach salespeople is in the car business is if you show someone 2 cars, that's great. If you show them 3 vehicles, that's too many because suddenly they get confused and then suddenly their decision is going to be put off and and you're out of business.
Exactly.
And so you have to manage the experience and make sure you're not overdoing it, because we can only, as humans, handle so much consideration of certain elements, prices or vehicles or candy bars. How many protein bars am I? Oh, there are 10 of them here, and here are the comparisons. And at some point, you go, and you just leave.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of the car business, and my hat today is my favorite.
It is the GP.
Couple things. One, I'm still going back and forth. Everyone on that's listening to this knows I'm going back and forth on whether to keep my Jeep or sell my Jeep, or not have a Jeep, not have a car payment, or buy a new one, whatever. All of the different options. So I was leaning, because I think I told you, right now Jeep has 0% for 72 months on the Wrangler. And I'm assuming all the news is pointing to the incentives even getting better, if you want to call them incentives, or market adjustments. They are incentives, but they're market adjustments, because they done screwed up, in my opinion. But I was looking at, because I will have to build one if I go down that route, because I want a very specific vehicle. With specific Wrangler. So I'm playing with the idea of changing colors of the Jeep, because white was not my first choice. It was Jen and Peyton's first choice. It was not my first choice. But building a Jeep, they didn't offer the color I wanted, and they still don't.
Which is
the original color. I don't remember. It was it was a dark gray. It was almost a black, but it wasn't quite black. It looked really, really nice. They have a different one out now. I think I call it slate. It's not slate gray, but it's it's supposed to be very similar to, what is that called?
Okay, whatever.
But it's a dark gray. It's kind of almost it's a metallic gray. But anyway, when I went to Orlando, I was trying to find a car when I got to the rental car place, and they were actually out of a lot of the vehicles so I normally would get a vehicle that is the same make or same make as the one that I work for.
Yeah, of course.
So I show up on their lot, I'm driving their vehicles, right? So that's always my goal. Doesn't always happen, because they don't always have those, and they didn't. But as I was walking down the aisle, looking at all these different cars, looking at the minivans, going, "Oh hell no, I'm not taking a minivan." They pull up. One of the attendants pulls up in a brand new Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 4xe. In the color that I'm considering.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, that is meant to be. So I took that one. Now, I will say, this is me being a bougie SOB.
We know that.
Yeah, we know that. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Didn't have leather seats. So back up a little bit. So when I got my Wrangler, there was only one type of Rubicon.
Okay.
But you could choose whether you wanted cloth seats, or you could choose all the different things that you wanted, the different add-ons. And also, I don't think, and I could be completely wrong about this one, but the fender flares, the fender things that go over, those were all, in my year, they were all body color. So I have a white one, so my fender flares are white.
Right, not black.
Not black. So now I don't know if it started in 2023 or 2024, but all the 24s and 25s, they've actually separated the two Rubicons. So now there's the Rubicon and there's the Rubicon X. The Rubicon X has the same color fender flares, has leather seats, it's fully loaded. That's the top of the line Rubicon that you can get. That would be my Rubicon. So mine would be an X. This was not an X. This was a regular Rubicon. So it had the black, even though you couldn't tell because of the color, but it had the black plastic fender flares, and it had cloth seats. It had everything else that mine has, except didn't have heated seats, didn't have a heated steering wheel, which I didn't think would be a big deal, because it's a Wrangler, right? You buy a Wrangler to be an off-road vehicle, a Wrangler. You're going to get it dirty. I am so spoiled.
Yeah.
I sat in there going, I want leather. I want my heated seats, and I want my heated steering wheel. And I'm in Florida, and I want these things. So,
of course you do.
It doesn't have the padding on the top, the sound deadening stuff. And I'm just, come on, this is not. I didn't like it. Let's just put it that way, guys. I didn't like the color.
Man,
I know. I didn't like the color. I didn't like the seats. It felt like because of the new dashboard, because they have that new infotainment system, the dashboard is brought out a little bit, so it felt like I was sitting in the frickin' dashboard. I hated it. So I'm now leaning more towards, unless for some reason the X is different than the regular in comfort wise, which I'm not going to know until I test drive one.
Can we call the regular the Y, the XY?
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, okay. Not going to do that, but okay.
Sorry,
unless something is completely different with the higher end X, I would much rather, even though it was going to cost me an arm and a leg, I would much rather keep mine.
Why will it cost you an arm and a leg?
Because I would have to pay interest.
Higher interest rate.
Yeah. That's it.
Well, if you don't like it,
you don't like it. Guys.
It's just
I just don't like it. I mean, you
so
already know I don't like the grill.
You would go back to the 4xe again?
So here's the new dilemma, John.
Okay.
So I've been looking. So when I bought mine, it's a 21.
Yep.
So the 4xe, folks, has the electric motors, but it also has a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, which is, I mean, it's actually a very powerful engine. Don't get me wrong. But it's very loud. So it sounds, when it's running, it actually sounds like a diesel. That's how loud it is.
Okay.
An older diesel.
Yeah.
So Jeep on their ICE vehicles used to have multiple options. You could get a turbo 4-cylinder, you could get a eco diesel, and you could get a 6-cylinder. You could also get a multitude of different transmissions with all of them. Well, in Jeep's or Stellantis's infinite wisdom, the 24s and 25s, you're allowed 2 different engines. You've got the 4-cylinder turbo, and you've got the 6-cylinder. So I've said, you know what? I want to do a 6-cylinder. I don't want to go to the 4-cylinder. I've never liked 4-cylinders, especially in the Jeep. Even with the turbo, I like the 6-cylinder. The gas mileage is pretty much the same, so why not have a little extra oomph? Unless you want to go to the big Mac Daddy, the 8-cylinder, 392,
which is a Hemi.
Yeah, it's a Hemi.
The Hemi,
but that's $100,000, so I ain't doing that. Anyway, so I'm looking at the 2, but here's
really
it is, yeah. 392 is over $100,000. Anyway, so I'm looking at that, but here's the downside: the 6-cylinder only comes in a manual transmission. That doesn't bother me. I don't mind. I would actually prefer a manual transmission. I like manual transmissions.
Yep.
But I'm not the only one that drives the car.
That's correct, sir.
And Jen can't drive a manual transmission, and Peyton will probably end up driving it. Even if we get her own car, she'll probably want to drive the Jeep more often because she absolutely loves Jeeps. She can't, obviously, I will try to teach her, but there's no guarantee she's going to learn to drive a manual transmission, even if I teach her. I'm not that good a teacher, obviously, because I can't teach Jen how to drive a manual transmission.
Same.
So that's a dilemma. So the 4xe can't have a manual transmission. So I'm kind of on the fence. If I'm going to do a 4-cylinder, why would I do just a regular turbo 4 when I could do a 4xe, which actually, in my opinion, rides better?
Okay, because of the extra weight.
Because of the extra weight. Yep.
Yeah,
and I think their technology is just going to get better.
What's the price difference up front?
About, I want to say 20 grand. Maybe it's more like 10 grand difference. Let's see.
Geez. Okay, well, you just made the decision for me.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Well, remember, a 6-cylinder Jeep is a manual transmission. Transmission adds quite a bit of cost.
I guess I'm talking about the 4-cylinder turbo.
Oh, I got you. Hold on, I'll tell you.
Internal combustion engine of choice.
I'm going to go to a 25. We're going to look at a 25.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, sit tight while we price out vehicles.
We are going to price out a vehicle here. So, let's see. Build your Wrangler. 25. I'm going to buy it. All right. So, we're going to only do the Rubicon X.
Okay, Rubicon X. Because it has the crap you want.
Yep. So a Rubicon X 4-door starts at $62,000.
Okay.
Now that's a regular one. So now let's go to a 4xe.
So that's regular with the 4-cylinder turbo.
That is, I didn't build that out. So let me actually go in and build one here. Stand by.
Well, you don't have
interior. Well, so here that's with the 6-cylinder. So let's do.
So it's a manual.
Switching. So yeah. So switching. So you can get a manual in the 4-cylinder. So that's the unfair part. But you can also get a standard transmission. The standard transmission is $2,500 more than the manual.
The automatic, yes.
The automatic.
Not standard. Standard is actually a manual. It's another word for a manual transmission.
I'm sorry, you're right.
You're automatic transmission.
Yeah, I'm just reading the words and just not paying attention.
I know.
I can't do two things at once. I've never been able to.
Yes, you can.
There is no cost difference between the 4-cylinder and the 6-cylinder. But the 4-cylinder is a straight 4, where the 6-cylinder is a V6. V6 3.6 liter versus a 2.0 liter inline 4.
Turbocharged inline 4.
Turbocharged inline 4.
Got
All right,
it. Okay.
so let's go to the 4xe. Models. No, cancel that. No. Why
cancel
are you being cancel that?
So what is your podcast about? Well, we sometimes price out vehicles.
Yep.
And other times we
Why
talk about nothing.
Yeah.
While we're pricing out vehicles.
There we go. So just for fun.
Yes, let's do it for fun by all means.
Okay.
This is where we should have a third screen for you to pop that up, you know.
I do have a third. Oh, I do.
Well, you could.
We can
share it.
I could. I'm not going to because
come on. Well, it's whatever. Noah.
All right, Noah. All right. So a 4xe.
Yep.
Starts. Oh, hold on. I
Stand
did because we're comparing apples to apples. So the 4xe used to only be available in a Sahara and a Rubicon, but now you can get it in a Willys as well. And and an S. And I don't want the S. I want a Rubicon.
Got to do apples to apples.
Apples to apples.
So do your
all right. So Rubicon X. They also have a high altitude, which is even more. No, it's not more expensive. Okay, so the Rubicon X 4xe starts at $70,000.
So it's $5,000 difference.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess if you really like it, I'm not sure you get that back.
No,
when you trade it and or sell it.
No, you really don't. Especially the 4xEs, but the Jeeps they're not holding their value like they used to. Because, because that's Stellantis' model. Too. They're building so much more.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about the batteries. That's the question mark for a lot of people.
That's
with
for
buying
everything,
them pre-owned. Oh, I know it is. It's not just the Jeep. Yeah. It's anything, though, with the big batteries that they're not sure how they're going to deal with that.
To be fair, if I were to do another 4xe, I would probably lease it again.
Yeah.
Which right now, a Rubicon X 4xe lease estimate, and this is an X, so it's not base, but it's base X. They're estimating $485 a month lease.
Wow. For how many months?
24 months.
Wow. That's actually pretty good.
It's strong, man. It's very strong.
It is strong. I mean, it has mileage limitations too, of course, which you usually blow up. But
yes. Yeah, that one. So they're that's 5,000 miles. That's what they're.
What?
Let's go. Let me see what it is.
Stupid. I can't even believe they would write a lease with a 5,000 miles a year limitation.
Yeah,
that's
so
crazy.
Estimated payment right now is, and this is with $7,000 down. There's that. For 30. So this is the lease that I have. It's 36 months with 15,000 miles annual mileage.
Yep.
And that is $1,130 a month. Oh, I ain't paying that for a lease.
Why is it so much more than the 485 or whatever the heck you just quoted?
I don't know. Let's do 12. Yeah, going down
24 months. Then 24 months with 12,000 a month. That would be
24 months with 12,000. Yeah. 574. That's not bad.
Okay, so now that's at least reasonable. I'm not sure why 15,000 bumps it up. It's probably the 24-month lease term has an interest benefit.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
It doesn't
geez. What
bump it
was
up.
that, Minnesota?
I went up to 27.
Oh, geez.
I went up. All I did was go. So at 10,000 miles,
Yeah.
10,000 miles, 24 months is 544.
Okay.
I bump it up to 27 months. It goes from 544 to 1481.
Oh, okay. So apparently they're trying to get you to do it for 24 months. That's the incentive.
I mean, if 36 months, what did I say 36 months was? It was $1,100, right?
11 something, yeah.
I could do technically 15,000 for 48 months. I don't know why anyone would lease for that long, but 15,000 miles for 48 months is still only $1,100. Why wouldn't you do that?
It's not really an only when the other choice is 24 months for 4 something.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. So it's
clearly you can see where the benefits are, where the package or the incentive money comes in.
Yeah, you can actually get a Sport S 4xe right now for $165 a month for 24 months.
That's the base.
That's the base. Yep.
But how much down?
Probably 7. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yep. 7,229.
It's a substantial upfront payment.
It is. But who's not gonna? I'm not gonna be able to keep it under 5,000 miles a month. Or 5,000 miles a year.
I've never seen a quote like that.
Yeah,
with 5,000 miles a year.
Keep in mind, folks, this is on Stellantis' website or Jeep's website.
So it's fine. I mean, they want to have a price leader, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a marketing tactic, and there's nothing wrong with that. But
right,
you also have to be realistic. What percentage of vehicles on the road drive 5,000 miles a year?
Yeah, none.
Maybe 5%, 2%. It's tiny.
Well, I could see it if it wasn't your main car. Like, for example, my midsize truck.
Sure.
That's been sitting because I now have a demo for work.
Yeah.
So that's been sitting in the garage. I haven't put, I think I maybe in the last month have put maybe 100 miles on it.
But that's because something changed in your user, in the user profile. I mean, you suddenly, it's not normal for most people to say, well, suddenly I had this vehicle and now I have a company vehicle. And so, I mean, that's
most
just
people
an
would
unusual.
sell their other vehicle.
Well, maybe
I
maybe
can't.
not. But it's a transition.
It depends
for you.
It is. So. It's different. And if I would have known when I bought that midsize truck that I was getting a company car, I wouldn't have done it.
Well, that's not how it works. You know that.
I know.
It never works that way.
No, never.
Jeez. Yeah.
Well, and that's the other dilemma, because I did get that truck.
Yep.
Because it was going to be the Jeep replacement.
Yes. Yep.
And I don't know. I'm still up in the air, folks. I have not had any. I know some of you, we talk outside of the podcast,
yes,
personally, and we've had these conversations. But I would be interested from a podcast perspective for you to chime in on this and tell me what you think. I'm really directly speaking to Bill here because he's asked us questions about certain things. Come on, Bill. What would you say? What would you do? And I was telling my wife last night. I said the problem is I just love it so much. Yes, I have a lot of problems with, but what Jeep owner? That's the thing. If you buy a Jeep and you own a Jeep, you expect to have problems. It is truly 100% the expectations.
I think you should be able to put any manufacturer into that sentence. If you buy a Bugatti and you're gonna have problems, you expect to have problems.
You do, but I love my midsize truck too. Mm-hmm. And I thought again that it would be a great Jeep replacement.
Yeah.
Because it is set up as an off-road vehicle as well. Mm-hmm. But it's still, as much as I love it, does not hold a candle to my Jeep.
It's still not a Jeep.
It's still not a Jeep. I love my Jeep. I love it, even with the problems. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what to do with that. I mean that I had that problem with the other two when I got rid of them too.
Yeah.
And it was, kind of like a boat.
Well, but now that you know what the 25s are going to be like with the new dashboard and you hate them, you're going to,
makes it even more difficult. I could go and buy a used one, but why would I do that if I've got one in the garage?
Yeah.
There's that. Probably get that one. Technically, probably get that one cheaper because I don't remember what my what I have left on it, but I should look that up.
You should look
that up. I have 3 months, guys. That's the other thing. And if I'm gonna build, if I'm gonna do that, I actually have to get my order in now, and I probably have to extend my lease another month or two.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Which that's an option too. I keep forgetting. I can always extend my lease.
Yeah. And
Who
they'll
knows?
allow you to do that month by month?
Yeah, they just sent me a whole bunch of information on it.
No kidding. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Who knows?
Well, on that note then.
On that note, I could talk about that for days. I had so many other things to talk to you about too, and
we can revisit those. And I don't want to ever have.
I know my friends. I know my friends are sick of me. Right? I know my friends are sick of me talking about my Jeep.
I don't think that's true.
We all have to have our passions, guys.
I think we all have interesting relationships with vehicles. That's for sure. Especially most of our viewers and listeners. And if you don't, that's okay. Business, right? If you're new to the podcast and you say, I don't like vehicles, that's okay. We still love you. Fun. And
we do. We don't just talk about vehicles.
Matter. No, we talk about other stupid things too.
Yeah.
But cars are some of our favorite stupid things to talk about.
Yes. Yep. It very much is. The other thing about the Rubicon X, by the way, is the top also is not a color matching top. Oh. So it's a black top.
Come on.
I know.
It's like they're not even trying.
They're not even trying.
Shout out to my buddy Matt.
They want to call a lower cost option.
And LCO.
No, it's not a low. They are literally selling. So what I got mine for, and again, mine would be considered an X.
Yeah.
The cost of mine is the same as the cost of a Rubicon X, not X, regular one.
The regular one.
So mine is actually now more expensive.
Y.
The Y, exactly.
Yeah.
Now mine is more expensive. So
yes, of course.
Anyway.
Well, all right, give us some feedback, y'all. Let us know what you think and what should Nick do.
Right. And you know where you can give us that feedback. You can go to our website. www.poddimouths.com. What did we say? PoddiMouths.com. Or any of our socials. We're up there. We're adding things, Well,
and subtracting.
But I am. And subtracting. Trying to subtract.
Yes.
But you can also comment if you're listening to us or watching us on Spotify or YouTube.
Yeah.
You can actually leave comments on Spotify or YouTube. You swipe up on Spotify, YouTube, it's right there at the bottom. Just start typing,
Brilliant.
And while you're there, smash the like button and subscribe.
Boom. And go to the merch store.
Go to the merch store.
Can be.
It's beautiful.
What the heck is that?
Beautiful. Yeah, exactly. What the heck is that? We actually do have some listeners because I was wearing my my blue PoddiMouths, the polos that you got us. Yeah. So we got some subscribers from that.
Awesome.
Every time I wear it, someone said, "Oh, you have a podcast? I'm gonna subscribe." So we have 36 people now.
That's huge.
All right, everyone. You have a fantastic week. It's been lovely speaking to you, John, and speaking to the rest of our listeners, all 36 of them. And we'll catch you on the flip side. Have a great day.
Always good to see you. Take care.